Welcome to bonus video number 2, and in this video we will be doing the CSS for our awesome accordion. And the first thing that I noticed, right here you can see accordion is spelled wrong, and I can't believe I did that. Accordion is spelled I-O-N, so first thing we're going to do is fix that. In most applications you can hit Command F and you get some kind of find and replace, and here I'm finding accordion and I'm going to be replacing it with the proper spelling with D-I-O-N. So let's just do replace all, and that fixes all of those. Now when we save it and we go to the preview, now you can see that it is spelled correctly. When we go to the actual website here, it is spelled correctly as well. Unfortunately, it did lowercase it. Let's go ahead and fix that. I don't want that lowercase. Let's find accordion, lowercase, and let's make it uppercase. Okay. Oh, well, in our classes we don't want those uppercase, so now we got to go through here. Okay, sorry about that, but now we're all squared away. Okay, now it's time to do the CSS. So let's make a new file. Let's go ahead and name it style.css. And at the top here, let's just mark that it's a CSS file so everybody knows. And let's get started. Let's go ahead and do the body. And let's go ahead and give it a background color of a really light gray. And now it's time for the wrapper that we created. And for the wrapper, let's do a margin of 50 pixels. And let's set the rest to auto. What this will do is it will center the accordion in the middle of the page, positioning it exactly 50 pixels from the top of the window. So it goes top, and then if we have 4 digits to work with, but it has a top, right, bottom, and left. It goes clockwise like this. And if you enter just the first digit, then it will apply that to the rest. If you enter just a first digit and a second digit, then technically this handles the top and the bottom, but auto will override it. Everything will be auto from there on out, so we'll be okay. But I'll talk a little bit more about that as we get further along. Let's set a width for the wrapper of 700 pixels. And I think that's all we need to do for that. I'm trying to go off memory here, so I don't quite remember everything. But let's do a font size for, this is the title of the page, and I think I did 50 pixels. I did a font family of Helvetica, Arial, and Sans Serif. I did a text shadow, and how this works is it's the x-axis, so the left or the right, and we don't want it off at all. Then it's the y-axis. I did 1 pixels, which would be 1 pixel down, and then I did 2 pixels of blur, which makes it look a little more realistic, and did a dark gray color. For color, I used the same color I used on the CMS website, which is a blue color. And then we want the text aligned in the center of the page. Oh, we don't want aligned. Sorry about that, folks. And padding 5 pixels all the way around, and a margin of 0 pixels so everything pulls up nice and tight. And that will be a margin 0 pixels all the way around, left, right, bottom, and so we should be good there. Now let's do the H2 accordion spelled properly. And for that, I did a padding of 0 pixels. I don't have a reset, so that's why I'm having to set all the paddings for a lot of these. The margin, 0 pixels on the top, 0 pixels on the right. Let's do 5 pixels on the bottom and 0 pixels for the left. Let's do a background color of a dark gray color, and we'll fix that later. We're going to do CSS3 background gradients. I'll show you how to do that. It's pretty awesome, and there's a pretty easy way to do it relatively fast. Let's go ahead and do a height of 46 pixels, just kind of going on the limb here. A line height of the same. Let's do a width of 700 pixels, which matches our wrapper. And let's do a font size of 16 pixels. Let's do a font weight of bold. Let's do text align let's not do text line, let's do float. We'll do float left, and we can do a border radius of 5 pixels all the way around. That will give it those rounded edges. And I'm not going to get into WebKit and mods. We talked about those in another tutorial, but if you were actually going to put this live on a website, I would recommend that you use all the vendor prefixes along with the official CSS specifications, which is border radius. And let's do a border of 1 pixel solid, and I think we'll do a medium gray. And the rest that we do will be, we'll come back to that, it'll be the CSS gradients. So now it's time for the anchor tag. And for the anchor tag, we have a little bit. Let's do a almost white color to start with. And we'll want to do text decoration none. This will remove any of the default decorations that browsers will give the anchor tag. We'll want to set a little bit of padding left. We could center it or something, but I kind of like it on the left side. And since it is an anchor tag, we'll want to display it block. It will help it become a block level element. By default, an anchor tag is not a block level element, and we want it to be. For font family, I use Myriad Pro, which is not really traditional. Not everyone's necessarily going to have that, so if you don't have Myriad Pro on your computer, you want to pick a different font. And I'll go ahead and we'll do some fallbacks. Helvetica Arial. And for, we'll do a text shadow as well. And we'll do 0 pixels, -1 pixel, which will make it look inset because it's going 1 pixel up this time. And then we'll do 1 pixel of blur, which is just a tiny bit of blur, and we'll stick with that dark gray. And once again, we're going to skip the vendor prefixes, and the same for the border radius, which will be 5 pixels. And I don't really know why. I was having trouble with the border radius wasn't appearing properly on the hovers and stuff if I didn't have it included in both of these. Normally I don't feel like I have to do that, but for some reason in this project I had to. I remember doing that, so I did it here again. If anyone knows why, let me know. And that's all we have to do for that. So we can get rid of this. And now let's do the H2 accordion hover. And we actually want it like this. A hover. And for this, we'll do a color of white. That'll make the text change just a little bit. And the rest is going to be background gradients, which we'll get to in a second. And now we can do the ACC container, which is the container that contains all of our text. And within that, we want a margin of 0 pixels, 0 pixels, 5 pixels, 0 pixels. And we want a padding of 0 pixels, because once again, I didn't use a reset. Overflow hidden is very important here. It's kind of what makes the whole thing work. Font size 1.2 EM. And that just is going to be based on how big of space it is. It could change the size of the fonts. Color, we want a gray color. And the width, we're going to use the same 700 pixels we've been using. For, let's go ahead and clear both, just to take care of any floats. And background color, we'll set to F6 for now, but this will be changing as well as we will use CSS gradients, and we'll give it a border of 1 pixel solid. And a box shadow. What did I do? 0 pixels, 1 pixel, 3 pixels. Guessing. I think that'll work. And from here on out, it'll be CSS gradients. So we'll call that one good. And our very last element is the, if you remember, the block, the class of block. And the reason we did that was it's basically a fix for jQuery. If you add this padding, I'm not sure why it works. I did some research online, but they said if you add a nested div and give it some padding, it will smooth out your transitions, opening and closing. If you recall on the CMS, I had some issues where it would kind of jut up and jut down, like it would kind of stutter around the very top and the very bottom, and this actually smoothed it out. I don't know why. If you know the answer to that one, let me know, but this works. So let's see what we have. And that looks a lot better, but that is not centered like I would like it. What happened there? Let's try this. No? Did I misspell something? Did I forget a... Okay, so I've troubleshooted it and I found my problem here, and we can actually leave this. Float left. Sorry. And, oh, I'm sorry. Wrong one. Where is it at? I changed that. Well, we can leave that text line left. That'll be just fine. And this needs to be padding left and not just padding. And there we go. Now it's fixed. So now you can see it's a lot more attractive, but it could be better. So let's see what we can do. If you search CSS gradient, you'll see the CSS gradient generator, and I will list this in the important lesson links. And what we can do here is let's go ahead and add some more swatches. So now we have 4. At the top, pick very white, make sure it's 100%. Right underneath that, you can pick a darker color. And let's change this to 98. And we can adjust that a little bit. For the third one, let's move this down about midway, and let's pick a pretty dark color. Oh, and this one needs to come all the way down too. And so we've got a pretty dark color there, and then for this one we want a very dark color. And let's make this darker even. So that's starting to shape up. This could actually be even a tad darker itself. And I think that's probably pretty good. I'm just kind of guessing here. Hit copy the code and come back over to your CSS, find the accordion section right here and paste it in. Save that, refresh it, and looks like really nice little buttons here that we've done. That white highlight really helps make it look three-dimensional. Let's come back to the gradient generator, and now let's just start at the darkest color and just lighten everything up a little bit. And copy that code and paste that in under the hover section. And now refresh the page. You can see that the hovers work just fine, and I could actually probably go a little darker, but I think that's okay. And now finally, let's do a gradient for this back section here. And to do that, we can get rid of a couple swatches. Let's make the bottom one 0, which it's at, and the top 100, which it's at. And now let's pick, let's actually swap these. For the bottom, we want white, and for the top, we want a very subtle gray, and we want to move this white up quite a ways so it starts to blur. And actually, let's not do total white, let's do like just barely gray. Copy the code and paste that in under ACC container and save it. And you can tell we have WebKit and Mozilla support. And refresh the page. And it's a very subtle gradient, but it is there. And actually, I think I would like, let's just change this real quick. Let's just make it white. Copy the code. Delete that. Paste a new one in. Save it. Reload. And voila, there we go. It looks very nice. Seems like I forgot something here on the ACC container. Let's do some rounded corners here. I like the way I did that originally. We want border, bottom, right, radius 5 pixels, and border, bottom, left, radius 5 pixels. Okay, I gotta wrap this video up because I'm gonna go over my time. And the next one we will add the jQuery. Let's see what that looks like. Yep, now we have nice little rounded corners. We'll do the jQuery so all of this comes to life. So stick around.